Hey everybody, it's Thunder, the Desert Shaman. Haven't done a video in a while. Figured it was time to do one. A lot of shit has happened since I did my last one, especially with the Trump thing. Well, I said all along that I was going to take a wait and see attitude, hoping for the best. For a while there, it looked like Trump was on a roll when he came into office. Of course, I always said, besides taking a wait and see attitude, that I am not into politics. I just hope for the best. I was hoping that he would keep his promises in regards to Russia and Syria and that type of thing. Well, so much for that idea, because Trump caved in big time. He went and shot some missiles off, some Tomahawk missiles into Syria. And he's going to suffer the consequences. Really stupid thing to do, probably because all the pressure that he's under with the thing with Putin, accusing him of being in bed with Putin, and got all this other shit coming up about wiretapping and about just the whole ball of wax. So he figured, I guess, the best way out of the whole mess was to go warmonger, which I never voted for Trump. I was just hoping for the best. I let him slide on a lot of things that I probably shouldn't have in regards to things like the environment or whatever. But I said right after the elections, and you can go back and check my videos, things are probably going to get worse, because the deep state didn't want him in there. They have been doing all kinds of things to frame him and make him look bad, and they keep up the media crap with the 24/7 bad mouthing him and all that stuff. So I knew it was a matter of time. Actually, I didn't want to admit it, but I knew that he would cave, and I've even said before they would probably attack his family or do whatever they had to do. And the thing that's really bad about all this is that it just goes to show you that it doesn't matter what president gets into office. It could have been anybody. I mean, it could have been anybody but Hillary. Anybody else that got into office would have had the same thing happen to him. You have to kowtow to the powers to be, to the deep state, to the dark agenda perpetuated by these people, which is a war, and more war. It's amazing they use the same thing that they used back in 2013. This supposed quote-unquote gas attack by Bashar Assad against his own people. Why the fuck would he's ahead of the game now, okay? This is a total false flag. It was a total setup, probably done by the so-called, quote, moderate rebels or the ISIS or whoever, which is basically they had them on the run. They're still on the run. What's happened now is they've used this new chemical attack, and of course they flood the media with all kinds of pictures, phonied up pictures showing people dying and little kids and stuff like that. And supposedly he's attacking his own people. Now you got to ask yourself the question, if he's got ISIS on the run, and ISIS is the proxy army of the US, if he's got ISIS on the run, he's got all these people in his corner, Russia, Iran, China, he would be awful fucking stupid, okay, to go and gas his own people. I mean, You're ahead of the game. You're just about at checkmate. So why would you sabotage yourself? And I've seen interviews with Assad. He's not stupid. He'd never do that. So they use this drummed up false flag gassing, okay, that probably didn't even happen. Usually you wait and get an investigation going to see where this came from and so on and so forth. And then you got to get a UN, you got to go to the UN and get a permission from them to take any action. And then you have to go to Congress if you're going to attack a sovereign nation. What Trump did is he attacked a sovereign nation. He started a war. And he started a war where there's all kinds of people in there that could be of great harm to us. Russia's in there. They're a nuclear power. They have been backing Assad. And what's really strange is like 2-3 days before Trump pushed that button and sent those tomahawks off, they were talking about, oh, we're going to leave Assad alone and we're going to let the people over there decide who they want as their leader. They were totally backing off that Assad must go routine. And then the next day, 2 days later, what the fuck happened? Well, all of a sudden there was this phonied up gas attack. And he shot off some out of a just pure knee-jerk reaction, okay, without thinking about it, without going, wait a minute here, this seems fishy. Maybe this was a false flag, or this was something that was drummed up by the neocons or the deep state or whoever they have over in that region to start a war. They want war. Okay, they want confrontation with Russia, and they just may fucking get it. That's what I didn't want to see. Russia, as usual, is keeping a cool head about it, but they're saying that this is a violation of a sovereign nation's rights. It's war. It's a knee-jerk reaction to something that hasn't been proven. And I'm sure Russia will come up with the proof if it hasn't been destroyed by the Tomahawk missile thing. And I'm surprised, well, what could have happened too is they shot 59 Tomahawk missiles off and only something like 30 got there to their destination. So what happened to the others? Well, they might have got shot down by that S-400 missile system that Russia has. Russia says they're even going to beef up the air defenses even more. So we're right back to square one. We're right back to nuclear confrontation, just like I was afraid of if Hillary got in. We're right back to that square one position, the bend over and grab your ankles position. It's really sad. I was hoping for better. I was hoping that Trump would not cave in to the deep state and go warmonger on us. Because his whole thing during the whole election process was, I'm going to leave countries alone. They have a right to their own sovereignty. I'm going to make a pact with Russia that we fight ISIS. Everything looked really, really good from what he was saying. And maybe he tried, but maybe he just got backed into a corner. But whatever, I'm sadly disappointed, let's put it that way, because anytime we're back to square one in the nuclear confrontation field, it's not a good thing, people. It's not a good thing. And are we going to have World War III overnight? Well, who knows? That's the thing about these kind of situations, is all it takes is one little mistake, one little miscalculation, one little wrong move, and the next thing you know, you got a big problem. You got a major war on your hand. You got World War III. So yeah, Trump caved in. Trump caved in to the deep state. Okay. He caved in. I imagine they put a lot of pressure on him, just the pressure that you have seen from the media and the pressure from, you know, the left and the Hillary crew and the neocons and the McCains and the Lindsey Grahams constantly berating him and accusing him of things, and it was moving towards impeachment. But see, just the fact that he caved doesn't mean that he's not going to be impeached anyway or assassinated or some other goddamn thing, because they still don't like him. And how can you like somebody, or how can you respect somebody anyway that caves to you? So yeah, that seems to be what's happening here. Seems to be what's happening. It's a very sad day in the geopolitical arena. And if that wasn't bad enough, you still got North Korea hanging out there, and the situation is foobar, fucked up beyond all recognition. Just like it was before, only this time it might be worse. The whole reason that people voted for Trump was because they didn't want Hillary confronting Russia. And what's happening now? Well, Russia's being confronted. Russia was all for Trump. They were all for the new administration, maybe extending an olive branch, you know, of peace. But the deep state just can't let it happen. The powers to be just can't let it happen. They can't let, and why their agenda is to push towards confrontation with other countries is only really known by them. I can guess at it. Probably has to do with the financial situation here in America and around the world and that whole thing. Or maybe it's just pure psychosis, pure psychotic motherfuckers that think that they have to control everything. So I'm just throwing up my hands with that. I'm almost to the point where I'm just not even gonna worry about it anymore. I mean, not that I really lost sleep over it. But as I've said before, I'm a strategist. I like to look at things. I hope for the best. Seems like everything's been in upheaval lately. Even here in the desert. Man, we had a windstorm the other day that was unbelievable. It was so bad, okay, that it rained mud here. It was actually a haboob. I think that's what they call it, a dust storm mixed with a thunderstorm, and 85-mile-an-hour winds. And it hit this trailer and it hit this property out here. Didn't do any damage to the trailer, but I did have a kind of a portable garage thing that I built for my Harley that was made of tubing, steel aluminum type tubing, and then it had a tarp over it, and I had bricks on all the legs. I had about 200 pounds of bricks. Shit, the wind just lifted that thing up like it was a hot air balloon till it was about 4 feet above my motorhome, my trailer here, and dropped it on top of the trailer. I had to go out. It was lashed down with ropes too, so I had to go cut the ropes. Then it flew across the other side of my trailer and took out my radio antennas and left the place showered in mud. All the vehicles, my Harley, everything. It was quite a sensational little event. And I had to go out and I cleaned up everything. Thank God my Harley was okay. Just got a little dirty. Washed it off. Washed all the vehicles off. Washed the trailer off. Picked up the twisted, mangled wreck of what used to be a garage, portable garage. So much for that. I guess they didn't really, when they invented that thing, I should have known better. The winds out here get incredibly bad. Talk about a harsh environment, man. It goes from one extreme to the other. If you live through this, it's like that old saying, what doesn't kill you will make you stronger. Thunder did kind of strain himself a little, picking up stuff and putting the radio antennas back up and getting everything copacetic again. So right now, I'm just kind of taking it easy and chilling out and trying to recover here. God damn. And it seems like that just went right along with the world affairs. Everything going in upheaval, a shitstorm, literally, you know. Shitstorm. A shitstorm's a coming our way, folks. Doesn't look good. Doesn't look like there's too much hope for peace on the horizon. And things are just being done illegally. I mean, you know, you can't use the War Powers Act to say that you committed aggression or war on another nation unless it's a threat, an imminent threat to the U.S. of A. And it wasn't. So basically what Trump did is he shot himself in the foot. He shot himself in the foot. They'll use that against him too at some point. They might even, although they're cheering now, the neocons and Hillary and everybody. Yeah, that was the right move. Yeah, that was the right move. Go for the war. Go for the juggler. Kill, kill, kill. See, the really nonsensical thing about this whole thing is that from the very beginning, the United States are the ones that created the war in Syria, and there's like 300,000 people that have died or more. Maybe close to 500,000 people that have died, been misplaced, lost their homes, living in sewers, being raped and set upon and pillaged. Men, women, children, babies. What about all those thousands of people? Don't they count? See, they set up a war and kill hundreds of thousands of people. And then when Russia comes in and tries to stop that war and stop the people that are perpetuating it, in order to frame Russia and in order to frame Assad, they kill 38 people, and then they flash all these color pictures on the news 24/7, one right after another. Boom, 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 boom. What about all the fucking people that have died up to this point that has been caused directly by our intervention into that state and our supporting of the so-called quote-unquote moderate terrorists? And really, it was all the terrorists that we've been supporting. Trump went in there like a naive virgin and got his cherry popped. That's what happened, okay? He went in there like a naive virgin and got his cherry popped by the people that are really in control. He thought he was going to go in there with all these grandiose schemes. I thought he was smarter, really. I thought he was more of a strategist. I thought he could work his way around it. If he was really strong, he couldn't. But to me, right now, he looks like a powder puff. Just like his hair. So yeah, I hung in there for a while, and I didn't condemn him, and I told other people not to condemn him, just to take a wait-and-see attitude, give him a chance to see if he could work his way. No. You know? Hope for the best, expect the worst, and I said that all along. I said it's going to get bad. They're going to attack him. They're going to put him in the meat grinder. And they did. And he succumbed to it. So as far as I know, unless something changes radically here, unless there's a 180 or he's got some kind of strategy I don't know about, But that ain't much of a strategy, shooting off a bunch of Tomahawk missiles when that whole area is occupied by the allies of the Syrian people and are there with their permission, people like Russia. And Russia has a big stake in Syria. They're not going to back off of Syria. Why? Because they have a port there. They have a Mediterranean seaport there with nuclear facilities, subs and all kinds of stuff, ships. I think they have an air base there too. So and they have a stake in the fact that there's a pipeline through there. So are they just going to back off all of a sudden just because Donald Trump throws a few Tomahawk missiles? No, that ain't going to happen. If anything happens right now, I see it ramping up, and then somebody making a big fucking mistake. Let's hope for the best, though, Let's hope for the best. Things turn on a dime. But again, it don't look too cool at the proper moment, at the present moment. Let's see. Did I want to talk about anything else here? Oh, yeah, I might throw in a thing about YouTube. I noticed that they're clamping down there, too. The deep state or the powers to be or whoever are starting to try to control content, okay? At least as far as the advertisers go. But that's the start of it. I never used monetization or advertising anyway. But now they're combing through what people are saying and saying, well, we can't monetize that because that's too radical or that isn't in line with political correct thinking. So far, it hasn't reached the rest of the crew, the rest of us here, I don't believe. Not that I'm that worried about it, because I'm not. It's not like I have 100,000 subscribers like some people. And probably the reason I don't is because I think I was marked from the very beginning as a truth teller and as somebody that could be considered subversive to the agenda of the deep state or the powers to be or whatever. Maybe. Don't know. So anyway, that's kind of my little update as to what's happening. I'm trying to think of any... Man, there's been so much shit happening, since I made my last video. It's just like overwhelming. I mean, all the stuff with... the wiretapping and the Senate sub-panel committee meetings. And another thing too is right before Trump fired off these Tomahawk missiles, the guy that was on his side recused himself, Nunes, which is a bad thing. And Steve Bannon, the guy that was the only guy that was probably talking sense to him, all of a sudden is not in the inner circle, not in the Security Council anymore, ousted by Trump. So yeah, it looks like they really did a number on him. But politics is politics, and like my good friend Ben Carnes says, politics, many blood-sucking ticks, is what it amounts to. They're all bloodsuckers. They're all controlled. So it doesn't do a damn bit of good for all those people that voted for Trump. And I wasn't one of them. I don't get involved in politics except to talk about it, to observe it, to hope for the best. As somebody who likes to watch the planet. Okay. And I did give him a pass on a lot of things because I felt that World War III was a little bit more important than all this other stuff with the environment, because Mother Earth, like I said before, is going to take care of herself anyway. even if she has to be like a dog shaking fleas off her back. She will get rid of us all at some point if she feels that we're fucking up the environment. Okay? And the planet will go on. It'll go on just fine without us. But yeah, I think that at this point, unless something changes, the writing's on the wall, and we can see where all this shit's going. Down the tubes. So much for draining the swamp. How about filling up the swamp? Anyway, I'll leave it there today. This is Thunder. Adios.